Ultron program. I'm sick of watching people pay for our mistakes.
Isn't why we fight so we can end the fight and go home?
We can tear them apart. From the inside. That's the best you can do! You had to ask.
Hi, welcome to the Geek Legion of Doom. It's 2015 and possibly one of the biggest movies of the year, if not the biggest. We've just seen it, Avengers: Age of Ultron. Without any spoilers. So Pauline, ladies first, take it away.
I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. I was pleasantly surprised by...
Were you not expecting a good film then?
No, I was expecting a good film, but like the Ultron character, I was pleasantly surprised by how he was portrayed and came across, and the fact that he was actually quite funny, quite sarcastic, and that appeals a lot to me. So I really enjoyed that part of it. The two
Quicksilver and
new
Scarlet Witch.
characters, yep. I was a bit apprehensive about them at first, and I kind of thought, oh, I don't really know, because obviously the guy who's playing Quicksilver, the guy from Kick-Ass,
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
I'm not a huge, so I'm really bad with actors' names. So I'm not a huge fan of him, so I wasn't sure what I was going to kind of think, but they grew on me throughout it, especially I actually ended up coming out of there really liking the Scarlet Witch. I thought she was pretty awesome. It was pretty cool. And then just, my usual, like, Tony Stark, always Iron Man, my favourite. Love him. And I think the Hulk was, I'm not a fan of the Hulk, so I actually warmed more to him in this film as well.
Yeah. He's got more screen time.
Yeah, definitely. And I like the little kind of sub-storyline that went on in that, to do with him. It was pretty cool, I like that. But yeah, I actually really enjoyed it. I thought the action was pretty good. There was bits in the beginning that I was a bit like, I'm not so keen on that bit. But yeah, I actually, overall, I was massively impressed, came away extremely happy.
Anything you didn't like about it?
Again, just in the beginning, there was a bit...
Are we talking, because it starts with the battle scene.
Yeah, so
are we talking
the
that?
very battle scene, yeah. There was just a little bit too much in the way of... and obviously everything's done quite a lot of CGI anyway. Yeah. But there was a few scenes in that I felt didn't quite look right.
I didn't think the CGI was fantastic throughout this movie. I've got to be honest. For me, I'm actually a little bit torn about this movie. We haven't discussed it. We decided not to talk about it until we did this review. I liked it. I think it's a good movie. I don't think it's a great movie. I wasn't blown away with it. We watched the original Avengers movie kind of to prepare for this, and there are things that I like better than the first Avengers movie, but there are things that I don't think are as good. I still would say that Captain America: The Winter Soldier is by far the best Marvel movie. I don't think it goes near that one, if I'm completely honest. So what I liked about it, first of all, so if you compare it to the original Avengers film, I think the battle scenes are better than the first movie. I wasn't as keen on the sort of Chitauri scenes, to be honest. I think the battle scenes with the Ultron bots and the kind of the Hydra sort of machines, the kind of soldiers, were better here. Yeah, although it does kind of follow the same, basically the end. I should probably guess, right? Really, as you've seen in the trailers, is them fighting all the kind of Ultron drones, just like we had in the last movie where we were fighting on the kind of the nameless Chitauri soldiers. So that kind of, it's a very sort of similar beat, and I'm hoping now that this is not a kind of rinse and repeat, that we're going to get these kind of stormtrooper types every kind of Avengers movie. I don't think they will, but there you go.
He doesn't like a stormtrooper.
Just one of the more foot soldier types is what I'm sort of getting at, basically. Now, a lot of criticism is there's been from reviews with this movie that have said that it's it's been mixed reviews. A lot of reviews think it's overcrowded. I didn't think it was overcrowded, to be honest with you. We've seen team films before. We've seen large ensemble casts. I did not think this was too overcrowded at all. I wouldn't think that was their criticism. They do focus on certain characters. I feel like they kind of listened to some of the feedback from the original movie and kind of addressed it specifically with things like Hawkeye that he really wasn't focused on at all in the first film, and he gets a lot of screen time and really has probably the most amount of kind of not exactly backstory but kind of character building moments. To the point where I think it's a little too much sometimes, if I'm completely honest. It's very much trying to make him like the everyman type character. But throughout the movie, we get these kind of sort of semi-flashbacks, basically caused by the kind of the Scarlet Witch, which basically gives us a little bit more insight into the kind of the the minds or the kind of what's particularly the fears of our characters. And as you know, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. So, I thought the new additions were good. I actually did quite like all of the new additions. Scarlet Witch, I actually didn't think she had massive amounts to do, to be honest. Once she comes, actually, she does have a fair bit to do, but I don't feel like we really got to know her character all that well. I didn't think.
Do you really want to know her character straight off, though?
No, not straight off, but throughout the movie, even when we sort of come to the end of the film, I still don't really feel like I kind of really got to know the actual characters that well. She doesn't say a whole lot, to be honest. She hasn't got masses of dialogue.
No, she's just got an angry face most of
the
time.
If you're familiar with the character in the comics, she's fairly volatile, but I didn't think that she got. I mean, even Quicksilver, I would say you could have got a bit more of a feel of his kind of personality. But I don't think they did as much with Scarlet Witch. But they still, their powers were quite cool. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it's different type of powers than what they've seen in the Marvel films, and the actual Marvel Universe films. But they were, they were exciting to watch. I just felt like they didn't have much character building, if that makes sense. Then we've also got Vision as well, who comes in later on in the movie, and I thought he was handled pretty well. I won't go too much into Vision because that kind of really is going to more sort of spoiler territory. But I thought he did pretty well. He's kind of, I think he takes a while to kind of get used to what we're looking at visually. He's so sort of, he's so sort of dynamic looking.
Yep. It
takes a while for you to sort of accept his kind of look.
Yeah.
I didn't think his CGI was that good on his cape. Did you?
I have to admit, I didn't really see the purpose of the cape, just because he looked at Thor and went, "Oh, I want one."
Yeah, that's more. He's fairly comic accurate because that's what he wears in the comics. But stuff like that, there are some CGI which I didn't think worked particularly well, and that I would expect in a real sort of like big budget films, if that makes sense. Ultron. I have a problem with Ultron.
Really?
Yeah, I knew she was gonna. I haven't told her this. And have mixed feeling about how he was portrayed. He's basically portrayed as a madman. He's clearly mad, and he's far more human-like than I was expecting. More in the way that he's talking, in the way that he's sort of joking. I don't know. I think maybe they went a little bit too far with humanising him, and it's obviously because they want to kind of give James Spader a performance. They want him not to be, seem like the Terminator, like robotic. But to me, I personally felt it went a little bit too far, and he was a little bit too kind of not serious enough, if I'm honest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just didn't think he seemed particularly serious. I think, how can I say this without being too spoilery? So. I think the conflict ended a little bit too quickly for me. It seemed to end. I was expecting a little bit more.
I will admit, I kind of think that when that whole kind of fight scene started, and when I guess it's kind of like the whole. Sounds a bit stupid, right? But it's kind of like the whole when Boba Fett dies in Star Wars. Mm. I kind of probably got a little bit of the same feeling in that when it's... Yeah,
it just went a little bit... The fight was good leading up to it and stuff, and I really enjoyed... I didn't really... The other thing with Ultron as well, I don't think it made a particularly good case of explaining what his plan was. I found his plan a little bit kind of confusing and a little bit... seemed to sort of go around the houses a little bit, if that makes sense. It kind of... what he wanted to do, I don't think was clear. Obviously yes, he's a bad guy. He kind of wants to cause destruction, but I don't think it kind of did a good enough job really trying to sort of explain his motivations.
I don't think he had any.
Well, there you go. You know,
That was my honest opinion, just from it.
Well, you just think he wants to blow stuff up.
Was not that just that he wants to blow stuff up. But
the long and short of it, he wants to sort of destroy the humans because he feels that will kind of set Earth back to year zero essentially. But his actual plan of what he wants to do, I don't know. It didn't flow to me. I didn't feel the writing was quite as good, especially in the first half of this movie. Okay. Once we have that initial fight scene, I don't know. To me, this movie had a bit of an uneven flow to me. When kind of Thor goes off and does his thing, that seems completely pointless to me. He kind of goes off for a little while and does his own thing, and that just seems.
Yeah, I agree with that one.
That just kind of seems, but it just kind of stops and starts and stuff. There's some great character moments in this movie. I will say this: when the movie slows down, then it does. You know, it's not all just fighting all the time. Mm-hmm. There are some fantastic interactions between the characters, and we sort of see them at a very kind of on a sort of personal level, which I really liked. It does set up quite a lot of things. There's kind of not maybe as much as I thought there would be actually, but there's kind of hints at Civil War. There's obviously hints at the Infinity War and things like that. So there are kind of it is setting up the larger sort of universe that goes beyond it. There's only one mid-credits trailer, by the way, so don't bother staying to the end. So you know, I think in some aspects, I think the actual I kind of like the simplicity a little bit more of the first film, to be honest.
Okay.
I think this one that had a kind of a better flow, in my opinion. Though I think some of the action is better in this film.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think the action isn't. I think the action's more clear in this film because in the first one I found, especially when they're fighting the Chitauri, that it's quite. One, I know obviously this one has bots and they all look the same anyway, but so does the Chitauri, and it can be quite hard jumpy sometimes. Whereas this one, I think I like the fact when it rotated round each person as they're fighting. I actually liked that. I thought that was pretty good. Yeah,
I mean, I like the character building on the actual main Avengers, and I kind of like that the focus is kind of it's fairly evenly split, to be honest. You know, it's a good film. Don't get me wrong. I'm kind of maybe being a bit hard on this film because I'm a huge Marvel fan, and you know, I do really like this film, and I would definitely want to see it again and all of that. But I wasn't blown away, and when I watched Captain America: The Winter Soldier, I was blown away by that film, and I enjoyed this film, and I really liked it, but I wasn't blown away by it. Anyway, what would you say? What would you give it out of 10?
Well, yeah, I would probably say 9 out of 10. Okay,
I'll give this movie a 7.5. So it's a good film. Don't take that as a negative, because I know I always get crap in the comments, but it's it's a good film. I just think it could have been a little bit better. And I got to say, I'm actually glad now the Russos are taking over Joss Whedon, I have to say. I think maybe he's kind of getting a bit long in the tooth for it. So anyway, what did you think of it? Leave us a comment and we'll look forward to you next time. Bye for now.